Hey, Shalom Akim Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakakwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noise in this gospel, bro, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is just a quick in transit through the spirit. Lord's will to be edifying. Title: Shells are getting ready to be empty. Are flocking. Stay, right? Stay, because they're talking about what I believe like the ports are empty. Well, not empty, but they're emptying, and they only have like roughly 6 to 8 weeks of stock left at these particular ports and stores, which, you know, due to supply chains disruption due to the tariffs on China, 145% to be exact. They're not really doing business with China like that anymore. So, you know, things like Amazon, you know, and those retailers that oftentimes have dealings with China, they're getting ready to start going up on their prices, because a lot of people was talking about how prices have increased dramatically on certain products of Amazon, man, because, you know, sometimes they have like direct ties with China and different resources and such. So they was mentioning about the end of May, maybe mid to end of May, going into the beginning of the summer months, we can see dramatic food shortages on the shelves. And we know food insecurity in Babylon is one thing of offense, because America, or Babylon the Great, has been known as the land of rest. Okay? And these people getting ready to realize how good they had it, because when things start to hit the fan and the food and the trucking industries are not moving like that, which I believe they laid off damn near 20,000 people, or they're talking about laying off 20,000 people at UPS. What the fuck, man? Why they... God damn, I need to go this way. You fucking kidding me? Anyway, man. So anyway, Salakia, man, I need to fucking turn, make a left turn, and I'm finna be late fucking with these people. But anyway, whatever. So they're talking about laying out 20,000 people at UPS, which, you know, UPS is known for delivering parcel to people's homes, whether they order online or whatever, right? So we're all familiar with UPS, FedEx, pretty much the same shit, right? But anyway, with that being said, they're talking about shortages, and that's Satan, man. Salakia kind of threw me out of the spirit, because I needed to make this turn right here where these stupid trucks are at, and it kind of threw me off because I need to go that way. So Salakia, let me hop back in the spirit. But anyway, and that's the spirit that they move, because I need to actually go this way. That's the spirit. But anyway, so going back into the account, China basically is cutting America off, because they like, look, man, we don't have the particular deal that we need in order to keep things moving in the economy, then we're not just gonna fuck with y'all, all right? In America and China, I mean, and Trump is doing a worse ordeal by putting tariffs on a major manufacturer, which 95% of your goods in America is manufactured through China. Okay, this is a known fact. Outsourcing has been the game for the last 25 plus years. Okay, even going back into the time of the housing crisis in 2008, when you had, let's just say if you had like Sprint, or you had what they call US Cellular. T-Mobile was around at that time, but if you call a retail carrier, what happens is that you'll get somebody from India. Okay, that's known as outsourcing. Well, that's been going on for some time. But now, since you're cutting China off at the knees, or China is cutting you off at the knees, there's no way that you can sustain your economy, because, you know, remote controls, TVs, toys, you know, particular games, particular car parts all come from China. Materials, stuff like that. So what happens is, once they're cut off, there's no recuperation from that, man, because the damage has already been done. So they're talking about they roughly have 6 to 8 weeks of supply left within these stores, and when the ports dry up, which they mentioned that it was like a 30%, I think they have like 30% decrease in goods from last year, and it's stagnant at this point. And they don't see any long-term turnaround, so to speak. So what happens is, when you don't have those goods shipping to these stores anymore, then you don't have truck drivers to ship these goods to the distribution centers, and the distribution centers separated by region, and then they have the particular companies like Walmart, Target, you know, particular Amazon facilities, JB Hunt, whatever you want to call them. Then essentially they don't have any work. And once the trucking stops here in America, then pretty much everything ceases to exist. Because you got to understand, you got things that get here through four means. You got small freights, which is flown by certain planes. Then you got massive freight, which is carried through maritime, which is overseas, man. Okay, like the ports are operating 24 hours around the clock. You know, the ports are always active. They're always busy, because that's how we get our supply, whether it be lumber, goods, you know, whatever you may need, tires. Everything is shipped through ship. Then it hits the docks. Then the trucks take it to the distribution centers. Distribution centers, they sort it. Then they take it to the particular stores of the region. That's how your shelves get stocked, right? Now, when that isn't happening and there's a 90% decrease on these products, then that means that there's no jobs. Okay, and trucking, if trucking industry is laid off, then you can forget about Babylon. Then you may say, well, you know, we got planes, right? Or not planes, or we have trains. Well, yeah, trains are good, but you can't get everything by train, because what the trains, you ain't gonna have a freight train pulling up in the back of a Walmart, man. You're gonna be unloading like that. That ain't how that works. Okay, the trains go to a certain port or a certain hub, then they will release the goods and a truck will come and transport it. Okay, it's known as traffic. Ezekiel 28, starting at verses 3, 4, it goes into, with thy great wisdom thou hast gotten thee riches, and with thy traffic thou hast gotten wisdom, roughly paraphrasing. And that traffic goes into maritime, man. Okay, trafficking, whether it be humans, products, goods, this is how Esau made his money. So once that particular vein is cut and stripped of blood and nutrients, then the body dies off. So all the trucks you see on the road right now, hey, eventually they're not going to be on the road, because you ain't going to be able to pay this guy right here a certain amount of salary to go down to Atlanta, Georgia to deliver one pallet. And then he has to pay for his own gas. He's not going to make good on his investment. So there go your trucking industry right there. Hell, UPS, heavy around the holiday times, man. Hey, you land out 20,000 people in UPS, that's going to affect a lot of transportation and a lot of packages, man. Because think about Christmas time, Thanksgiving time, and everybody do they shopping for Christmas and all this other shit. What happens when they don't have the product? You know? So people getting ready to lose their minds, man, when they can't get those games, they can't get those particular items that they've been salivating after, when things are not hitting shelves, because China is not fucking with them like that. Okay, and that's all through the spirit. Yahweh Shai said that he would cut the staff of bread in Babylon, man. And this is a way that the Lord is dealing, you know. And then food is a big thing, because most people shop at Walmart because it's pretty cheap. It's fairly reasonable. You can buy in bulk, you know, at Sam's Club, or you go to Costco, you buy in bulk. But what happens is, when you're not getting those products, then it's pretty much a done deal. So people are getting ready to lose it because of food insecurities, because we understand one thing in America, man. Bread and circuses, man. It says, keep the people entertained with bread and circus. They will never revolt. But see what happens when you have the circus without the bread? People are going to start to wonder, because they complement one another, man. So if you go to a baseball game, but you got a shortage on hot dog buns, and you can't get the hot dog and the beer you want, then you ain't going to be spending your money at the game. You're going to be pretty much bitter. You know, then you may say, well, we bring our own lunch, our own food. But even then, that could be bittersweet, because for the simple fact, you know, I mean, the food is getting ready to be scarce. Especially like stores like Trader Joe's and all that other stuff. That pretty, oh, fuck, I went the wrong way again. Well, not essentially, but when you go to Trader Joe's, they have, like, you know, products from Germany, you know, pretty much products that's not really, that's non-GMO, so to speak. So what happens in that regard is, you're not getting the good products, like the pasta noodles and shit that come from parts of Italy and Spain. You don't get the good pasta noodles, you're just stuck with the GMO shit. And this one guy, he was talking about that. He said that, well, yeah, we'd be stuck with the bad shit that they manufacture in a lab somewhere because we don't have the good shit anymore because the tariffs. Now, Trump did pause tariffs on every other country for like 90 days. But even then, when that runs dry, then what? So, yeah, brothers, it's getting ready to go down, man. And going into these women, they're feeling that pinch. They're feeling that burn. Because when you go into TikTok, you got a bunch of women and some dudes too, but it's mainly women talking about how they've committed their lives into their careers, and now they don't have anything to work for, anything to live for. So now they want to seek out men, and then a lot of them are getting passports and try to go to places like Thailand, Colombia, you know, the Philippines to try to grab up men. But Keisha realized that she's not really wanted in other countries, so to speak, because her behavior is here in America. You know, so therefore these women getting ready to start flock to the men of the Lord. And brothers, we got to be in the spirit of discerning who's who, man, because think about it. Prior to this shit happening, these women ain't really want to have nothing to do with brothers like that, man, you know, unless it benefited them. But now they're giving you that second look because ultimately they know, man. Okay, these bitches ain't stupid. They know exactly who's who. They see us out there. They see us on the YouTube. They see us in the stores. You know, hey, they know. They know, even if they don't know directly, indirectly, they know, like, wait a minute, I've seen this guy before. You know, I remember I was going to this theme park out here one day, and I was pulling up to pay for the ticket so I could go park. It was like two Ethiopian chicks from Sudan, all modest and dolled up. They're like, I've seen you before. I'm like, where y'all see me from? They said, you was that guy such and such out there preaching and teaching, right? I said, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You got the wrong guy. But knowing it was me, but see, they know, man. You know, call lawyer, how about you? How shot 144. Spirit never lies, man. But so yeah, man, they're getting ready to try to come around you brothers, man. And be careful too, because a lot of them are opportunists, man. Okay, a lot of them are opportunists, and a lot of them are looking for a survival or somebody to survive off of because they done ran the well. The well is running dry, man. You know, so part of me in my mind here in Kansas City, I'm like, they're building up infrastructure in Kansas City, but I'm like, where they gonna get the money to do this shit, man? How they gonna get the money to continue to build all this shit up, you know, when America is going broke? So yeah, man, it's gonna get real sticky in a minute. So, you know, you brothers out there, just be spiritually on point. You know, don't get all thrown off course because all of a sudden a chick that look good slides in your inbox, or she comes up to the camp. All of a sudden she want to give you some type of play, man. You got to vet that bitch, man. All right, because see, you got to be ahead of the curve. A lot of them think they're gonna run game on you, but you got to be a step aware of that, man. Okay, you got to see that shit coming. Like the scriptures say, a prudent man foreseeth the evil afar off. And a lot of them, I'm gonna tell you straightforward, they only coming around us because for the simple fact they think they're gonna get something out of the mix. Especially when the Most High starts to disseminate between us and these wicked 2/3 out here. When the Lord finally exalts us and put the ball in our court and we come with that glow, that's when things are going to start be evidently clear, man. Like, wait a minute, these are the men of the Most High. Why aren't they famished? Why aren't they looking like they're getting ready to drop dead from exhaustion, from hunger, from thirst? You know, why are these men healthy? They out here, they got their bodies in shape, vibrant. You know, because as the scriptures say, wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy times, man, and the strength of thy salvation. So yeah, man, just be on point with that. And hey, be careful too, because you're gonna have a lot of niggas out here too that's gonna get whiff of that. Like it was a story in Acts, I believe it was Acts the 10th chapter, when it goes into I think it was Simon the sorcerer, if I'm not mistaken. Gotta recall that story. But basically what happened was he was going around and he was betwixt people with witchcraft, like he was some type of notable man of the Lord. And he beguiled a lot of people because he had a lot of followers. But then when he came across the disciples or the apostles, what happened was that he got a taste of the power of the Lord. And he seen it and wanted it, so he started to believe. But when he was in the spirit of, well, how did you do that? You know, how much money do I got to pay in order to be able to do this miracle? Peter rebuked his ass and cursed him out, and told him that your gift died with you because you think that you could purchase the gift of the Most High with money. And this thing ain't about no money, man. So you got to be careful. You're going to have a lot of dudes hold on. You're gonna have a lot of dudes, a lot of guys that's gonna try to come around us because they're gonna see that the attention is gonna shift to brothers' focus, man. And be careful, because you got a lot of envious niggas out here too. You know? So we coming in them times, bros, man. Hey, the scriptures tells us in 2nd Esdras, the 16th chapter, that the bridegroom, roughly paraphrasing it, should perish in war, and the women and the virgins should have no helpers, because they bridegrooms will perish in war. And what wars is it talking about? First and foremost is going into the civil wars. The civil wars here in America, man, because you're gonna have civil war, class wars, race wars. You know, you're gonna have every sort of war on American soil, and on top of that, they're gonna have to bring back a draft because they're not meeting the recruitment numbers. So they're gonna have to ship a lot of jakes over to the east to meet the Lord, man, literally, to get destroyed. So that's gonna leave a lot of women without men, and they're gonna run into the men and the Lord, and a lot of them gonna try to, you know, they're gonna try to supplant you to try to get what they want out of you. But you're gonna have to, a lot of you gonna get rejected. I'm gonna tell you straightforward, 98% of you gonna get rejected, because the Most High already got set up for us the women that's gonna come with us. You know, those of us that may partake in Isaiah 4:1. And every brother might not get that opportunity, you know. Certain brothers may get it, every brother ain't gonna get it, because that come with a particular mindset. But that don't mean that you're not a man of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. It just, each brother's situation is different, man. You know? But overall, for the most part, the men of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, we're gonna get endowed with that power, man, and that substance. So, you know, just stay spiritual at all costs, man. Don't start thinking with your dicks. A couple of precepts and I end it. Shalom, Makim, how about you, this is Ezekiel 28:4. It says, with thy wisdom and with thy understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. And it says, and by thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches. Yeah, going into maritime, like things are constantly shipping from China and different parts of the world to Babylon the Great, constantly on a constant scale, 24/7, 365 days a year, man. But that's coming up slow now, right? So that goes into that traffic. Make a U-turn. Hold on, Salakia, brothers. I'm actually at my destination, man. Gotta meet a client over here. But anyway, that's pretty much it, brothers, man. Let me go ahead and focus on this road so I can finally get up out of this jam. I don't want to cause any accidents or any crazy shit like that. So with that, all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and rule well. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Lord's will, you will edify. To the next lesson. Shalom.